Shalom. First of all, let me give all praises. Barakatah Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahushai, Bahashim, Rakah, Kodash, Tawada, Amen. Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahushai. Double honors to the elders of GMS, Elder Gubar, Elder Rakah, Elder Raleb, Elder Dahar, and double honors to all the camps on the highways and byways, bringing out the word in truth and spirit and sincerity in the name of Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahushai. Shalom, Akayam, Shalom, brother, Shalom, sisters out there. Okay, today's edification, we're going to go over Psalms 83. I'm gonna give you an understanding of why these people did what they did, how they did what they did, and why we know once again that we are the children of Israel. Those people that you see sitting in the land of Israel, calling themselves Israelis, are not Israelites. They are Edomites. So, first of all, I want to take you through Psalms 83, because Psalms 83 is a prophecy of how they were going to steal our identity, on how those same people, those European, those bankers, those international bankers, the banking elite, how they were going to steal our identity. Now, the banking elite are the people that control every facet of society, okay? They control the special interests, the military, industrial, the corporate, lobbyists, the mainstream media, as you know. They control all of the governments around the world, okay, through their central banking systems. They control the police, the authority, they control the military, who they used, as I said, that sacrifice to do their deeds. They control the alphabet agencies, which are your spy agencies, NASA, NSA, CIA, MI5, GRD, MI6, GCHQ, the Germans, all the different spies, Mossad, all the different spy agencies that are around the world. They all work together. All of these institutions work together to control the world. The banking elites are the people who are the masters of the shadow governments, of the Illuminati. Basically, they control this place here, the United Nations. Those same international bankers controlled what goes on in the United Nations. You know, they stem from 13 families, part of what we know as the Illuminati. So this is like the order of the Illuminati. You've got the House of Rothschilds that sits at the top. So the Rothschilds are the top family in the Illuminati. They control it. They sit at the top of the table of 13. Okay, and then you got the Council of 13 here. The Rothschilds sit at the top of that Council of 13. The Council of 13 are these 13 families here. So you've got the Van Dyne family. All right. It says one of the least well-known Illuminati bloodlines. This family has connections to the foundings of New York City, as well as being one of the many prominent Dutch families in the early America. Right. And you've got, whoops, sorry, I'm getting the wrong way. Oops. Sorry, people, let me get this back again. So I had this up on screen. All right, let's see if it gets up again properly. So, the Astor family. These are the 13 families that we're speaking of, all right? That sit in here, that sit at this level here, the Council of 13. Right? These are the main players. The head of that Council of 13 is the Rothschilds. So you've got the Astor family. That's one. You've got the Bundy family. Yeah, that's two. So the Astor family, it says, represents some of the wealthiest people in recent history, stretching back to the 1720s, right? Their wealth is reflected in numerous important landmarks in New York area named after them, okay? You've got the Bundy family. The Bundy family has extensive ties to the American politics and government, with several prominent members involved in the Skull and Bones fraternity. Okay? This is the Bundy family. You've got the Collins family. Right? This is number 3. This is one of the most secretive families in the Illuminati bloodline. Little is known about their genealogy or history, but it's suspected that they wield enormous power with the cabal, with extensive connections to New England Satanists, meaning that they are key to the Kabbalah, satanic rituals and worship, right? This is the Collins family. That's number 3, family number 3. The DuPont family, right? This is them here. All right, this is them at their beginnings. One of the key families of America's industry, the DuPont family, traces its lineage back to Paris in the mid-1700s. They have massive industrial, real estate and commercial holdings in the East, particularly in Delaware. Many members have connections to Freemasonry and various Illuminati front groups like the Bilderbergs and the Trilateral Commission. Okay, you got the Freeman family. Okay, this is family number 4. I believe we're at. The Freeman is another one of those most mysterious and shadowy Illuminati bloodlines. Speculation is that they're heavily involved in the Priory of Zion, a French fraternal organization with a mysterious and probably made up history. There are also numerous Freemans involved in the Self movement, an offshoot of New Age, which is heavily in the pockets of Satanists. All right. The Kennedy family, as most people have heard about them, an American political dynasty stretching back generations. The Kennedys' name carries with it wealth, power, privilege. Several held key positions of power in the government, including John F. Kennedy, an Illuminati-controlled president. All right, as we all know. The Lee family. Lee is one of the most common names in China, so it's hard to find reliable information about this particular bloodline, but it's thought that China will play a major role, as we already know they are, in the coming Illuminati New World Order takeover, using the vast population as shock troops and cashing in the debt the country holds from the US, as we know. Specifically, Li Peng was a key prime minister in the westernization of China, and other Lees in China and Hong Kong hold vast fortunes in real estate and manufacturing. And as you know, China holds a lot of the American debt. And as you know, China has one of the most secretive governments in the world. And also when it comes to watching their population, they've got probably one of the most advanced CCTV networks that are monitoring every movement, everything you do in China. And as you know, China has a system what they brought in recently where they penalize people for jaywalking, for not paying back loans on a regular basis. They penalize them by taking away them the ability for them to take part in, to getting loans and to travel and to get a job and so forth. They got, I forget what the system's called, but they brought in this new system where they were penalizing people. It was like a credit system that penalized their public in everything that they were doing, basically in their day-to-day society. And it's something that they're using. As I say, China is like a what do you call it? A dry run. They're doing a dry run for this new world order and how it's going to be globally in China. All right. You've got the Onassis family. The laws of Greek shipping. Onassis represents a key European link to the ancient Illuminati rites. Onassis vessels are hugely important to the transit of cargo around the world, given the Illuminati power over what goes where and when. All right. It's the top Onassis families are patriarchs like Jackie Kennedy's second husband, Aristotle Onassis, holds key positions in many Illuminati front groups. The Reynolds family. I think we're at number 7 at the moment, right? Another of more secretive Illuminati families. The Reynolds has a massive holdings in tobacco through to the R.J. Reynolds companies, addicting millions of Americans to powerful drugs, with the government allowing them to operate freely. All right? As American royalty, the Reynolds family has numerous high-ranking Freemason members, many philanthropic connections, and all money allegedly given to Illuminati front groups. The Rockefeller family, as people know about them, they're one of the most powerful families in the world. The Rockefellers have extreme wealth and power beyond their holdings in real estate and industry, as well as their political connections. The Rockefellers have given large amounts of money to religious organizations which are alleged by Illuminati watchers to actually be training grounds for Satanists. All right. The Rothschild family. This is the head family that sits at the top of the tree. All right. When you research Illuminati conspiracies, one name continues to come up over and over again. Why? Because these guys are the heads. The sons of Mayor Ashmel Rothschild, right? And remember, he changed his name to Rothschild, his original name, which means Red Star. All right? Established family banks in 5 key European countries where they are said to have amassed enormous wealth by starting wars and selling weapons to both sides. Right? Same thing that they continue to do today, which are the bankers. All these families are involved in banking. The Russell family. All right? Christian restorationist Minister Charles T. Russell played a key role in founding the Bible student movement, from which numerous religious groups emerged, chiefly the Jehovah's Witnesses, and we've always told that that's why we call them Jehovah's Wickedness. Right? All of these different derivations of Christianity are created by the so-called white man and his allies. It's thought by Illuminati watchers that they use these groups are. It is thought by Illuminati watchers that these groups are actually fronts for Satanists, funneling members to be used as Illuminati cannon fodder. Other Russells have held leadership positions in Skull and Bones, the Masons, and the US government. All right, you've got the Van Dyne family. The Van Dyne family, one of the least well-known Illuminati bloodlines. The family has connections to the founding of the New York City, as well as being one of the many government Dutch families in America, prominent Dutch families in early America. They are said to have links to the fabric of the US government, the wealth, and the power of the Western Europe. So these are the different families that make up this organization here, the Illuminati. The Illuminati has all these different groups. You've got the Council of Foreign Affairs, which is an American institution, right? These are all controlled by the Illuminati. The House of Rockefeller, right, which is controlled by the Rockefeller family. The Order, which are the smaller secret societies, like it says there's Skull and Bones, Yale, and so forth, right? You've got the Pilgrim Society, the Matter Child Society, the Skull and Society, right? You've got the Bilderberg Group, as everybody should by now know about them. They keep a meeting every year or every 2 years, and it used to be in secret locations. Now they've had to come out in the open in the locations that they keep these global meetings. And the people that are invited are all the philanthropists, the head of corporations, the head of industrializations, the head of the heads of the military complex, the military industrial complexes, the head of the arms munitions people, head politicians, prime ministers, presidents. They have royalty that goes there from different countries and so forth to these meetings in the Bilderberg Group in terms of them working out what's their next stage of their strategy to do the New World Order. You've got the group, you've got the Royal Institute for International Affairs, which is in England, which is a British Labour Party. You've got the United Nations, which we showed you here. The United Nations is all part of the Illuminati. All of these institutions are part of the Illuminati. You've got the Trilateral Commission, which is another American organization. All right. You've got the Bohemian Club, which is a secret society, as you know, one of the orders. They call them the orders. These are the different secret societies like the Freemasons and so forth. You've got the Mafia. All these criminal organizations are also these, what they call the OCG, organized crime groups, are part of the Illuminati. All right. The Triad Corps. You've got the CIA, which are, as you know, a secret service. People like NSA, like MI5, KGB, which I think they're called the, they don't call them the KGB no more. They call them, that's the Russian Secret Service. There's another name for them, what's they call them. You've got the Central Committee to the Communist Party of the Soviet Union, which would be Russia. You've got the leading industrial democracies. You've got the World Peace Councils, Fabian Socialist Society, another one's part of these groups. You've got the London School of Economics. It's another part of these groups, basically, that use these fronts, but they're all part of these secret society, the Illuminati, all right? You've got the Club of Rome. You've got the European Common Market. You've got the Tavistock Institute. You've got the MI5, which is the British Secret Service. GRU, I think that's the German Secret Service. You have the socialist parties, communist parties around the globe. All of these institutions, right, are part of the Illuminati. So you've got the United World Federalists, the American for Democratic Action, the World Affairs Council, the Anti-Defamation League, which are controlled by the so-called Jews, the Nationalism for the Advance of Coloured People, which they call the NACCP, all part of the Illuminati. The American Friends for Service Congressmen, the American Civil Liberties Committee, Congress of Racial Equality, all of these different institutions are all part of the order of the Illuminati. All right, just so you understand this. All right. You got the World Council of Churches, and I said to you already, all these different derivations, strains of Christianity, from Catholicism to Jehovah's Witnesses, to Protestants, to Seventh-day Adventists. All of these different institutions, these so-called Christian institutions, are part of the Illuminati. That's why they give you a white Jesus. You've got the Women's International League for Peace, the National Organization for Women, the Southern Christian Leadership, the Committee for Economic Development, the Cope Ford Foundation, the Fund for the Republic, the National Urban League. All of these institutions are all part of the order of the Illuminati. Because this is what they do. They give them different names. They brand them as, they give them different names and brands, but they all are part of the order of the Illuminati. So what was their main aim? Their main aim is to what? To have total control over the world. Right now, these international bankers, which are all part of this banking elite, which are all part of the Illuminati, that control all the special interest groups, that control the military industrial complexes, that control the corporate lobbyists, that control your mainstream media, that control all of the governments around the world, the police forces, the military, the alphabet agencies, and you, because you are their economic slave that they've got in bondage. You may not have chains physically wrapped around your feet and your arms, but you, the people, are their economic slaves. What is their own aim? To take total control of society under a satanic, rulership, under a satanic, demonic rulership. This is what their whole aim is. They have, right now, they have power and they have money. The last part of their puzzle for the New World Order, the last part of the Illuminati's, is the last part of the Illuminati's puzzle for this New World Order is what? Is control. They need control. How are they going to get this control? Through the mark of the beast, which is the RFID chip, which they're going to instigate World War III to have this thing in place. This is what they're going to do. All of these are going to go hand in hand. World War III with the mark of the beast are going to come hand in hand. The people who they're destroyed, the people who they've stolen their identity from, the people who they've decided to write that they don't want the world to know these people are, what have they done to them? They've called them African Americans, Jamaicans, Latinos, Hispanics, Native American Indios, Marapuches, Aztecs, Incas, Barbadians, Jamaicans, St. Kitts, Antiguans, Trinidadians, the children of God, the Israelites. These people, the Illuminati, the governments around the world, Esau, these international bankers, the banking elite, have all collaborated together to do this. How do we know this? We know this through Psalms chapter 83. We're going to start from the top. It says, "Keep not thou silence, O Most High. Hold not thy peace, and be not still, O Most High." So this is why this is all coming out. Because in the prophecy it says, the Lord will not keep his silence. He will reveal what it is the nations did gather together to do to destroy the children of Israel, so they can have this satanic rulership of the globe, so that the Illuminati, Esau, with his fellow allies, could take total control of this planet, of this earth, of the Most High's creation, right? How? Through satanic, demonic, fraud, robbery, hypocrisy, through lies, treachery, deceit. All of these things they use to do this. It says, For lo, thine enemies make atonement. They that hate thee have lifted up thy head. Your enemies are sitting here in what they know today as the United Nations. This is the institution that they use to put the hammer. This is the hammer that they use to hammer in the nail to say, right, those people in the Bible, who they're calling the Israelites, children of Israel, we need to gather together to deny them their identity, to deny them their right, to deny them who they truly are, that they are the children of God. And what we have to do by using the international bankers and the institutions via the United Nations through the power under control of the Illuminati and these 13 families that we spoke of earlier that make up the Illuminati, right? That control the Illuminati. We're going to take their identity away and we're going to give it to these people here and call them Jewish Israelis. And call them Jewish Israelis. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to steal their identity and we're going to give it to these devils here. That's what we're going to do. We're going to give it to these crazy people here and say, yep, we're going to say these people are the children of the Bible. These people are the Jews. These people are the Israelites. These people descend from Jacob. This is what we're going to do. And we're going to use the power of these 13 families through this secret society that they created called the Illuminati. And remember, to Illuminati, it just means to illuminate. When you illuminate something, you're showing a light, right? Through the order of the Illuminati, we're going to create institutions like the United Nations via the banking elites who control everything, who control all your European central banks, from your Barclays, you got like the Federal Reserve, is central bank for America. You got the EU central bank. It's called the European Central Bank in Europe. In England, it's called the Bank of England. Right? All of these countries that have central banks that control the monetary system globally. They control the monetary system of their own countries, and when they band together, they control the global monetary system. They created these what we know as fiat currencies to use, right, to control the whole world monetary systems. And the people that did it are your banking elites, okay? So this is what they did. They said, "For lo, thine enemies make atonement, which are your banking elites," right, through the Illuminati. And they that hate thee have lifted up their head. The United Nations is the hammer that these international bankers created through the power of the Illuminati. Because remember what I showed you here. The United Nations is a part of the Illuminati. So, it says that they that hate thee have lifted up their head. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people. Who are thy people? The true children of Israel. They have taken crafty counsel against these people here. Right? African Americans. It's easy but just do it like this. Or let me just do it like this. Slavery. It's always better to see it from the beginning, boy. They have taken crafty counsel against these people here by putting them on the transatlantic slave ships. This is what they did. And put them into slavery. They have taken crafty counsel against these people here. This is what they did. All right? This is what these devils did. They've taken crafty, these are the devils here that have taken crafty counsel against our people here. Who they put into slavery. Who they sold into slavery. Took them from the west coast of Africa. So these devils here took crafty counsel against our people and took them from the west coast of Africa along with those Ishmael. All right, this is what they did. All right, they took crafty counsel against our people who they put on their slave fields. And what did they say? They have said, "Come and let us cut them off from being a nation." So they said, "Come, let us cut them off from being a nation." So how did they do that? Through slavery. Through slavery. Through slavery. Great bargain sell for Negroes. They said, "Come, let us cut us off from being a nation." This is how they did it, through slavery. Through slavery, from separating the families, breaking us up, putting us on those slave ships. Right? They did it with our fellow brothers. They did it to our brothers as well. Native American Indians. They said, "Come, let us cut them off from being a family." They did it to our brothers as well. The Native American Indians, right? They did it to these who are our brothers, who are the 10 lost tribes of Israel. right? So they said, come, let us cut them off from being a family, right? From being a nation, right? This is what these banking elites did, right? Through the Illuminati. This is what they did. So they took us. They had us on their slave ships and said, come, let us cut them off from being a nation. This is what they did to us, all right? These devils, all right? They said that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance, so that the name of who we truly are, we are not Africans, we are not Ghanaians, Nigerians, Congolese, Malis, Sierra Leones, Guinea, Baska Fusca, we're not Jamaicans, Barbadians, Trinidadians, St. Kitts, Antiguans, we're not African Americans, we're not Native American Indians, we're not all of these names that these devils gave us, right? So they said, come. This is what they did, right? They said, come, let us cut this off from being a nation, right? So they took us from this is what they did to our people. They said, come, let us cut them off from being a nation. So the name of Israel should be no more in remembrance. This started when they first put us on. These are the things that they did. These are the punishments that they did to us to remove our remembrance of who we were. Because when we first came to the Americas, a lot of our people still spoke different broken dialects of Hebrew. A lot of our people still remembered the customs that we was doing back in the land of Israel before we fled there in 70 AD to come to the west coast of Africa. So we were still doing a lot of the Mosaic customs, the Moses laws when we was on the west coast of Africa and when we was taking on those slave ships to America. But these are the things that they did. They beat it out of us. They removed it from us. This is what Esau did, all right? They removed it from us completely, using all sorts of torture. Where's it gone? This is what Esau did to us, right? When they took us, put us on those slave ships, sold us in those auction blocks. They said, come, let us cut them off from being a nation. The genocide they committed against the Native American Indians. So this is what Esau did. Coming to us with their bullshit, putting our people on their reservation. They said, come, let us cut them off from being a nation. All right? So it says here, that the name of Israel may not be in any more remembrance. So after 3 or 4 generations of living in the Americas, 3 or 4 generations under the oppression of Esau, we no longer remembered who we were. We no longer remembered our ancestors. We no longer remembered our statutes. We no longer remembered any of our high holy days that we would have followed. It says, for they have consulted together with one consent. They have what? Become confederate against thee. They consulted together with one conference. How did they do that? In this place here. This was the final nail in the coffin, was the creation of the United Nations. Because through this place here, they created this place they call the State of Israel. And said, these are the people of the Bible, and called them Israelis. But this was the vehicle they used. Through the powers of what? Through the banking elite, who controlled all the special interest groups, the military complexes, the corporate lobbyists, and the mainstream media. They controlled the governments globally. Through what? Through the order of the Illuminati. So Rothschild is going around calling himself a so-called Jew. These are Edomites. So this plan was put into place from the minute they did this. Oops. From the minute they put us on those slave ships, this was the beginning of their plan. Because when they took us from the west coast of Africa, they knew they were taking us from a place that we called the Kingdom of Judah while we was living in west coast of Africa. We had renamed it after our homeland, Judah, in Jerusalem. in southern Israel. Remember, Israel was split into two kingdoms, kingdom of Israel and kingdom of Judah, after Solomon died. So, when we had fled Jerusalem in 70 AD, which would have been roughly 900 years, 950 years after the death of Solomon, after the death of the kingdom splitting into two in Israel, we were now had fled Jerusalem in 70 AD under what? Under the oppression, under the dictatorship of Emperor Vespasian and his son, General Titus, when they besieged Israel. And over 1.5 million Israelites fled onto the west coast of Africa. Some of our people fled up into what we know today as Europe. So it says here, so that they said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may no more be in remembrance. For they have consulted together with one consent. They are confederate against thee. The tabernacles of Edom, the so-called white man, and Ishmael, your so-called Arabs, of Moab, your so-called Chinese, and the Hagarenes, a so-called Hamite nation, Gerbal, another Hamite nation, Ammon, Chinese, Amalek. Who is Amalek? Those so-called Jews who descend from Edom. Amalek is Esau, which is Edom's grandson. That's who Amalek is. The Philistines, your so-called Africans, with the inhabitants of Tyre. Assur, your so-called Assyrians, also has joined with them. They have holpen the children of Lot. When it says they have holpen the children of Lot, they have got help. Holpen means to help. They got help. They were aided by the children of Lot. Who were Lot's children? Moab, Ammon. Those are the nations that descend from Lot's two children, Moab and Ammon. So it says there, they got help from them as well, because once this United Nation was created, they were all together in one consent now. They're all confederate together in one consent and decided, right, these people here, calling themselves Jewish, we're going to give them Palestine and call it the State of Israel, and we're going to start calling these people Israelis. Israelis, remember, they never once tried to call them Israelites. Why? Because they know that they are not the children of the Bible. So this is the place where they became confederate, when all the nations sat down. Remember, it goes back to the Balfour Treaty, written by Lord Balfour in 1921, promising a homeland for those Eastern Europeans, Khazarians, calling themselves Jews. And it was in this place here, in the House of the United Nations, where they all came together under one confederate and decided to say, yeah, we are going to give these people here, calling themselves Jewish, the land of Palestine, and they're going to call it what? The State of Israel. That's what they call it. So when it says here, for they have consulted together with one consent in the United Nations, they are confederate against thee, because they are all confederate, all speaking with one tongue, one voice in the United Nations. They make the decisions there, and it becomes a global, a worldwide declaration. Because all the nations are sitting here confederate together, all speaking with one tongue to create the State of Israel. And they did that in 1948. And then that was the birth of the State of Israel. So if we say the State of Israel, Israel's birth, see what date it comes out with. May the 14th, 1948. The Arab-Palestinian economy collapsed. 250,000 Palestinian Arabs fled or were expelled. On 14th of May 1948, the day before the expiration of the British mandate, David Ben-Gurion, the head of the Jewish Agency, declared the establishment of a Jewish state in Eretz Israel to be known as the State of Israel. As you know, there's no such thing as the State of Israel in the Bible. The land of Israel in the Bible is just known as Israel or Zion. And Zion is just another word, like a byword used to call Israel. So this is what they did in 1948. They created it via this place here, the United Nations. So this is all prophecy, what they were going to do. So it says here, do unto them as unto the Midianites, as to Sisera, as to Jabin, as to the brook of Kizon. So now that goes back to the times of Gideon, our great forefather Gideon, right? He was the one that went to war against these people and took them down. Now, this here, so let me correct myself, the Midianites were taken down by Barak. Barak was the leader of the Israelites. These were the days of the judges. This is why this is so significant. These, when it says do unto them, because this is what's going to happen to all of these nations that became confederate together to create the state of Israel and to deny the true people of Israel, the Israelites, Judah, Benjamin, and Levi, and then the lost tribes, the 10 lost tribes of Israel, Simeon, Zebulun, Ephraim, Manasseh, Gad, Reuben, Naphtali, Asher, Issachar. That's what we're looking at here. This is what they did in the United Nations. This was the final hammer. The process was going on from the day the Europeans stepped on the land of America and started with the transatlantic slave trade, and the pilgrims came over to take over the lands from the Native American Indians. That's when it all began. But the final nail in the coffin was done by this here. This is when all the nations now were confederate. We're all together now, singing from the same hymn sheet, was in this place here called the United Nations. This is when they put the final nail in the coffin and gave them the right to create this place called the State of Israel on the 14th of May, 1948. So, go back to scripture. All prophecy. So when it says here, do unto them, so it's saying to do unto those, all of those that were confederate together, all of those nations, Edom, Ishmael, Moab, the Hagarenes, Gabul, Ammon, Amalek, the Philistines, the inhabitants of Tyre, Asher, also joined unto them. All of those nations that got together to deny the true children of Israel, their heritage and their name. All those nations that got together and said, for they consulted together with one consent that they are confederate against thee. All of those nations that says they have come, they have said, this is what they said together as a nation. Come and let us cut them off from being a nation. Let's cut off the true children of Israel from being a nation. That the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance. That's why we call ourselves African Americans, Jamaicans, Barbadians, St. Kitts, Antiguans, Negroes, Colored, Mapuches, Aztecs, Incas, Native American Indians, Cherokees, Sioux, what's the other tribes? Yeah, that all the different tribes that they had out there in the Americas, all these different names that we call ourselves, right? They said that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance. So this is what these guys did, but they finalized the plan. The finalization and the final nail in the coffin was done during the United Nations when they gave Israel, the state of Israel, to those Eastern Europeans in 1948. But the plan had beginning of that plan and the downfall of our people as a nation, and forgetting who we were as a nation, began in 1492 when these Europeans landed on the Americas and began the genocide of who? Of the Native American tribes through North and South America and Canada. When they realized that these were the 10 lost tribes of Israel. When these demons came and realized that these were the 10 lost tribes of Israel, that's when the beginning of their plan for the demise of our people as a nation began. Through what these devils did here when they came to the Americas and what these devils did here when they put us on those transatlantic slave ships. So, the scripture says, do unto them as unto the Midianites. So, what was done unto the Midianites was done under who? Barak. Deborah, I believe it was Deborah, she was the prophetess who came to Barak, who was one of the judges at the time, was the judge at the time of Israel, and said that the Lord has showed her that he will defeat the Midianites as to Sisera, as to Jabin in the brook of Kizon, that he should go up and fight against them. So if we was to go and Barak, let me see if I can get there. Barak. Right. So it's Barak. Zebulun. Where is it? That's here. There you go. Here it is. Here, look here. Judges 4 and 14. So, and Deborah, the prophetess, said unto Barak, up, for this is the day in which Yahweh has delivered Sisera into thine hand. Is not Yahweh gone out before thee? So Barak went down from Mount Tabor, and 10,000 men after him. And Yahweh discomfited Sisera and all his chariots and all his hosts with the edge of the sword before Barak, so that Sisera lighted down off his chariot and fled away on his feet. But Barak pursued after the chariots and after the host unto Harosheth of the Gentiles, and all the hosts of Sisera fell upon the edge of the sword, and there was not a man left. Howbeit Sisera fled away on his feet to the tent of Jael, the wife of Herbert the Canaanite, for there was peace between Jabin, the king of Hazor, and the house of Herbert the Kenite. And Jael went out to meet Sisera and said unto him, turn in, my lord, turn in to me, fear not. And when he had turned in unto her into the tent, she covered him with a mantle. And he said unto her, give me, I pray thee, a little water to drink, for I am thirsty. And she opened a bottle of milk and gave him drink and covered him. And again she said unto her, stand in the door of the tent, and it shall be, when any man does come and inquire of thee, and say, is there any man here, that thou say no. All right? And it goes into the story how he died. It tells you here, it says, and behold, as Barak pursued Sisera, Jael came out to meet him and said unto him, come, and I will show thee the man whom thou seekest. And when he came in unto her tent, behold, Sisera lay dead, and the nail, because she killed him, I forgot, sorry, we go back up a verse. It says, then Jael, Haber's wife, took a nail of the tent, and took a hammer in her hand, and went softly unto him, and smote the nail into his temple, and fastened it into the ground, for he was fast asleep and weary, so he died. So the same person that gave him sanctuary was the same person that killed him, right? The wife, then Jael, Haber's wife, did it. And then when Barak comes, it says, and behold, as Barak pursued Sisera, Jael came out to meet him and said unto him, come, and I will show thee the man whom thou seekest. And when he came unto her tent, behold, Sisera was dead, and the nail was in his temple. So the Most High subdued on that day, Jabin, the king of Canaan, before the children of Israel. And the hand of the children of Israel prospered and prevailed against Jabin, the king of Canaan, until they had destroyed Jabin, king of Canaan. So the prophecy says here, the reason I needed to read it to you, because I want you to understand what we're reading here in Psalms 83. So when the prophecy says, Psalms 83 and 9, when verse 9, it says, do unto them as unto the Midianites, as to Sisera, as to Jabin, as the brook of Kizon. So what happened to them? We just read the story. What happened to Jabin, Sisera, and King Jabin? They were all killed, and they were destroyed by Israel. And the Most High subdued them on that day, and Israel was prosperous. Just like it says there, and the hand of the children of Israel prospered and prevailed against Jabin, the king of Canaan, and until they had destroyed Jabin, the king of Canaan, and also it prevailed against Sisera and his host. All right? So these were the Midianites. This is what it's prophesizing here. So when it says, do unto them as unto the Midianites, as to Sisera, as to Jabin, the brook of Kizon, this is what's going to happen to all of these people that took part. This is what the judgment is that's coming for them. The same judgment that's happened to Jabin, to Sisera, to the Midianites, is going to fall upon these people here. these so-called white people, these so-called Arabs, these so-called Hamites, these so-called Chinese, these so-called Japanese, these so-called Indians, all of these people that gather together in the United Nations to take away, that made all that had taken crafty counsel against thy people, against the children of Israel, and consulted against the hidden ones, or these ones here, you know, the 10 lost tribes that were hidden on the west coast, in the Western Hemisphere, in the Americas, calling themselves Aztecs, Incas, Mapuches. You had the Mayans, all these different names, Gad, Cherokees, Sioux, all these different names that they had, until these devils came and then called them, these devils here came and then called them Indians. These were the hidden ones. These were the 10 lost tribes that in the last days came together with the southern kingdom. So this was the northern kingdom, you know. The 10 lost tribes, the northern kingdom. This was Simeon, Zebulun, Ephraim, Manasseh, Gad, right? Gad, Reuben, Naphtali, Asher, Issachar. That were joined. Who joined them was Judah, Benjamin, and Levi during the transatlantic slave trade. So these were the hidden ones that was in the Americas, right? These were the hidden ones. So this is what they did. So they crafted counsel, as we said. So this is what's going to happen to them. It says their judgment is coming, because this happened during the day of the judges. And then it says, which perished at Endor. They came as a dung for the earth. Because remember, the Lord said it's going to start off as they're going to go to war against each other. All of those people, all of those nations and countries that make up the United Nations are first going to go to war against each other before the Lord cracks the skies in his chariots with the archangels to gather the lost children of the house of Israel from the four corners of the world. And then the Lord is going to put the judgment on them, just like how in the days of Judges, how they were destroyed, how the Midianites were destroyed. Just like it says there, this is what the prophet says, do unto them, do unto those people that make up all of the United Nations, all of these people that took part in the downfall of these people here, the children of Israel, and the downfall of these people here, the northern kingdom, and that gave the land of Israel over to these devils here, these Khazarians, these Amalekites, who go back to Esau, Eastern Europeans, calling themselves Israelis, and allowed them to create this place here, the state of Israel. Do unto them as was done unto the Midianites. All right. And then verse 11 says, make their nobles like Oreb and like Zeb, yea, all their princes as Zebah and Zulamina. Now that happened during the times of Gideon. That's when Gideon was the judges. So if we go to just type in his name. I'm not sure what the exact scriptures that I want, but we're going to quickly find it. Okay. Before that's how we have miracles, fathers understood. Okay then. That's when the angel came to tell him. His people with him rose and pitched beside the wall of Harod, and that's when they to the host of the Midianites were on the north side. That's when they came against the Midianites. So here I want Judges 7 and 4. We start from here. Yeah, start from here. It was Judges 7, but we could start from here. So, we quickly go to the top here. So it says here, then Jerubbaal, who was Gideon, and all the people that were with him rose up early and pitched beside the well of Harod, so that the host of the Midianites were on the north side of them by the hill of Moreb in the valley. And Yahweh said unto Gideon, the people that are with thee are too many, right? Remember, they were too many, right? to give the Midianites into their hands, lest Israel vaunt themselves against me, saying, my own hand has saved me. And this is when he drew 300 men from the 10,000. I think if you drop down here, it says, so we brought the people down unto the water, and Yahweh said unto Gideon, every one that lappeth of the water with his tongue, as a dog lappeth, him shalt thou set by himself. Likewise, every one that boweth down upon his knees to drink, and the number of them that lapped and putteth their hands to their mouth were 300 men. But all the rest of the people bowed down upon their knees to drink water. And Yahweh said unto Gideon, by the 300 men that lapped I will save you, and deliver the Midianites into thine hand, and let all the other people go, every man into his place. So the Lord said, you're only going to need 300 men to take on all of these armies, right, that have come before thee this day. Just like the 144,000. The Lord is selecting 144,000, 12,000 from each tribe, and then you've got the 1/3 of Israel, all right? So, but from what we know from the scripture, it's going to be the 140,000 alongside the angels that are going to actually go to war against the Edomites. Yeah, while the 1/3, the rest of Israel, the 1/3 of Israel are going to be in the chariots witnessing the destruction of the Edomites and their allies, which is going to be brought on them by the 144,000. So just like how the Lord only said, look, Gideon only needs 300 men out of all of the men. I think he brought about 10,000 or 20,000 men. He only needed 300. The Lord only needs a certain number of men. That's why it's the 144,000, 12,000 from each tribe that's coming to bring the judgment alongside the archangels, Michael, Gabriel, Raphael, and the other 4 archangels that are going to be coming along for this war. And Yahushai, obviously in his chariot, he's going to be leading the Israelites to defeat these people. But the Yahushai, the Lord, doesn't need to bring millions of Israelites to destroy the billions of these other nations, because remember, there's over 7.5 billion people on this planet. Okay, so the Lord doesn't need billions of Israelites, because only 1/3 of Israel are going to receive salvation. So if there is, at this moment, if there are 2 billion Israelites on this planet, only 1/3 of them, so that's roughly about 700 million of them, are going to receive salvation, right? Alongside the 144,000. But the Lord doesn't need the 700 million Israelites to fight that war on Judgment Day. He's only going to use the 144,000, the 12,000 from each tribe, alongside the elect, the angels that are going to be coming with the Lord, the 7 archangels that are going to be coming alongside our Lord and Savior Yahushua. Because, you know, just like you see here, the Lord is showing Gideon that so the people know that he is the true power. I'm going to just give you 300 men, just 300 men you're going to use to fight against these people. So it says, so the people took victuals in their hands and their trumpets, and he sent all the rest of Israel, every man unto his tent, and retained those 300 men, and the host of Midian was beneath them in the valley. And it came to pass in the same night that Yahweh said unto him, arise, get thee down unto the host, for I have delivered it into thine hand. All right. So when we go down to here, I won't read all of it. I'm going to jump right down to the bottom, right, to where it's happened, where the war actually happens. And Israel and the men of Israel gathered themselves together out of Naphtali and out of Asher and out of Manasseh, and pursued after the Midianites, right? And Gideon sent messengers throughout all Mount Ephraim, saying, come down against the Midianites and take before them the waters unto Bethbarah and Jordan. Then all the men of Ephraim gathered themselves together and took the waters of Bethbarah and Jordan, right? And they took 2 princes of the Midianites, Oreb and Zeb. And they slew Oreb upon the rock of Oreb, and Zeb they slew on the winepress of Zeb, and pursued Midian, and brought the heads of Oreb and Zeb to Gideon on the other side of Jordan. And when you read all of this, Judges chapter 7, because Gideon was another judge, it tells you the whole story of Gideon and those 300 men that took on the Midianites, and Oreb and Zeb and Zulamiah, all of these people that we're going to speak of here. So when it says here, I just need to give you an understanding of what's coming, that this is prophecy, that you must truly understand that we're dealing with prophecy here, right? It says, make their nobles like Oreb and like Zeb, yea, all their princes as Zeba and Zumana. So what did he do to Zeb, the nobles, which were their princes? And he took the 2 princes of the Midianites, Oreb and Zeb, and they slew Oreb upon the rock Oreb, and Zeb they slew at the winepress of Zeb, and pursued Midian, and brought the heads of Oreb and Zeb to Gideon on the other side of Jordan. So, your princes and your nobles are who? Those that make up this banking elite. Some of them are going to survive, because a lot of them, the Lord is going to put into slavery. But also some of them are going to die. Are going to die a terrible death. So when the scripture says make their nobles, this is who their nobles are. Those that make up the special interest groups. Those that make up the military industrial complex. Those that make up the corporate lobbyists. Those that make up the mainstream media. All the owners. All of the banking elites. Those that are all the top officials in government. The top officials in the police forces, in the military, the top officials in the alphabet agencies, which are the spy agencies. So all of the nobles, right? You're talking about all of those that make up the Illuminati. From the house of Rothschild to the people that make up the Bilderberg groups are your nobles. The people that make up the different secret societies of the order. So you got the Pilgrim Society. You got the, what they call it? The skull and the bonnet, the Skull and Bone Society, the Bohemian Club, right? The House of Rockefeller, right? The nobles, all of those that are ambassadors in the United Nations, all of these different nobles that are different ranks within these different governments, right? Some of them are going to die, right? Because 2/3 of the other nations are going to die as well as 2/3 of Israel during the destruction. But 1/3 of the nobles are going to be kept for judgment. And it's going to be preferably, from scripture, it's going to be those from the highest accolade. Those that make up, like the Aston family, the Bundy family, the top 13 families of Illuminati, the Collins family, the DuPont family, the Freeman family, right? The Kennedy family, the Lee family, right? These are the ones that sit at the main table. The Onassis family, the Reynolds family, the Rockefeller family, the Rothschild family. Oh, definitely the Rothschilds. The Russell family, the Van Dyne family, all of these, right, are going to be kept back. But 2/3 of these nobles are going to die, right? So you're going to have all the different royalty families from the royal family in England, from the different royal families in the Middle East, you know, from Saudi Arabia to Kuwait to Bahrain, right, to Qatar, all the different royal families that make up these people here, right? A lot of them are going to be saved, but also some of them are going to die, just like the scripture says. The scripture says here, in verse 11, make their nobles like Oreb, right? We read what happened to the nobles of Oreb in the book of Judges by Gideon. You can read this through yourself, right? To see yourself what happened to them, right? What Gideon did to them, all right? You can read through Judges chapter 7 and get a proper understanding. But we showed you here, he took the 2 princes of the Midianites, Oreb and Zeb, and slew Oreb upon the rock of Oreb, and Zeb they slew at the winepress of Zeb, and pursued Midian, and brought the heads of Oreb and Zeb to Gideon on the other side of Jordan. So they were put to death. 2/3 of these Illuminatiists are going to be put to death. 2/3 of these United Nations members are going to be put to death. But 1/3 is going to be saved for captivity. 1/3 are going into captivity. 2/3 of these banking elites are going to be put to death. But 1/3 of the banking elite are going to be saved for captivity. And it's going to be preferably, it's going to be the top accolades, the ones that sit at the top, the ones that sit at the top of the table of this bloodline. So those ones that make up the 13 main families of the Illuminati, those are not going to be put to death. They are going to be saved. They're going to witness 2/3 of their nobles that make up the order of the Illuminati. They're going to witness their destruction and their death. Just like how in the days of Oreb. Just like how the scripture says in the prophecy. It says, do unto them, make their nobles like Oreb and Zeb. Yea, all of their princes are Zeba and Zelamana, who said, let us take to ourselves the house of the Most High into their possession. When did they say that? When they put us on the slave ships. They said, let us take the house of Israel into their possession on the transatlantic slave ships. And then from there, what did they do? From the transatlantic slave ships, they did what? Brought us onto their auction blocks and sold us. That's what they did. From the transatlantic slave ships, we went from there to becoming their slaves. To be sold as their slaves. Let's read the scripture again. It says, who said, this is what Esau said, let us take to ourselves the house of the Most High in possession. They did that from there when they sold us and when they took us from the west coast of Africa on the transatlantic slave ships, right? When they had us, where's those, one more I wanted to show you, sorry. When they took us from, where was it? This devil here, Abraham Lincoln. But he didn't free no one. This devil here was all for slavery. All for slavery. If you don't know about this devil here, Abraham Lincoln. Right? So this is when they took us into their possession. Right? Took us into their possessions to work their fields. To become their slaves. To work their fields. This is what they did. Right? Took us into their possessions. Took us along with the Arabs. Because the Arabs were the ones that helped catch us on the west coast of Africa and brought us and sold us to the Europeans, yeah? As well as the Hamites, who they call today Africans, were part of capturing us on the west coast of Africa, right? And bringing us to the coast to sell us to Esau, to the Edomites, to the so-called white man. So this is what they all involved. This is why I said they're all involved. They said, who said, let us take to ourselves the house of God in possession. They did that. They took the house of God in their possession when they took control of the Americas and put all of the Native American Indians, the different tribes of North America, South America, and Canada. And what did they do? They took them into their possession and put them on what they know as reservations, the worst inhabitable lands that couldn't grow anything, that was stony and everything, and took away all the fertile land from these people. And who they didn't kill off, they tried to assimilate into their society to make them be like the white man. This is what these devils did. But it's all prophecy, just so you understand. So it says, so verse 13 says, O my power, make them like a wheel, and as the stubble before the wind. How is that going to happen? That's going to happen here in Revelations 18. We'll just show you here, quickly show you Revelations 18 quickly. This is when it's going to happen. Where are we? Now, we'll go to Revelations 11. Probably one of the better ones. This is what's going to happen when the missiles are going to fall on these devils. Where are we? Where I want here. 1 second. 11 I want. It's 11 I want. Third woe, seventh angel. So it says here, and the nations were angry, and thy wrath is come, and the time of the dead, that they should be judged, and that thou shouldest give reward unto thy servants, the prophets, and to the saints, and to them that fear thy name, and small and great, and shouldest destroy them which destroyed the earth, which are these Edomites and other nations. And the temple of the Most High was opened in heaven, right? And there seemed in this temple an ark of this testament, and there were lightnings and voices and thunderings and an earthquake and great hail. And if we go to, Revelations 18 was a good one to go to still. And it says, and after these things I saw another angel come down from heaven, having great power, and the earth was lightened with glory. And he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the great is fallen, and has become the habitation of devils, and the hold of every foul spirit, and a cage of every unclean and hateful bird. That's what's going to happen to America after it's destroyed. It's going to be inhabited of all of these foul birds and birds that live in the desert and so forth, yeah? For all the nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication. How did they do that? They drank the wine of her fornication in the United Nations. All right? That's where they drank the wine of her fornication. And the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her. Where'd they do that? Within the United Nations. That's when they all committed fornication with this devil here. This is the current leader of the United States of America. All right? And the merchants of the earth are waxed rich through the abundance of her delicacies. Who are the merchants of the earth? The Illuminati, the banking elite, the international bankers. These are the merchants, the special interest groups, the military industrial complexes, the corporate lobbyists, the mainstream media, right? These are the merchants of the earth, right? And wax rich through the abundance of her delicacies. And I heard another voice from heaven saying, come out of her, my people, and let ye be not partakers of her sins, and that ye receive not of her plagues. For her sins have reached up unto heaven, and the Most High has remembered her iniquities. Reward her even as she has rewarded you, and double unto her according to her works. In the cup which she has filled to her double. What was the cup she filled? Slavery. This was the cup that she filled, slavery. Right? The cup that she filled was slavery. Putting us on these. This is the cup that she filled. Sending us in those auction blocks. The cup that she filled was the genocide she committed against the Native American Indians, who today they call Latinos and Hispanics. That's the cup that these devils filled. So we go back to Psalms. It says, "O my power, make them like a wheel as a stubble before the wind." And the stubble is going to come from the nuclear fallout. Right? Just like it says there. When it says there, and the kings of the earth, it says, Revelation chapter 18 verse 7. It says, how much she has glorified herself and lived deliciously. So much torment and sorrow give her. For she has said in her heart, I sit a queen and am no widow and shall see no sorrow. Therefore shall her plagues come in one day. Death and mourning and famine. And she shall utterly be burned. Yeah? She shall be utterly burned with fire. That's going to be through the ICBM, intercontinental ballistic missiles. For strong is Yahweh who judges her. That's what happened to America. It's going to be utterly burnt by fire, nuclear fire, through ICBM, intercontinental ballistic missiles. And the Lord is going to put the final, the nuclear destruction that's going to be coming from the chariots of the Lord is going to be the final destruction. But first, the Americans are going to go to war with the Russians and the Iranians in a conventional war that's going to escalate to a nuclear war. And when that happens, when the nuclear war begins, at some point during the nuclear war, that's when those clouds are going to crack. And Yahweh Shai is going to appear with the archangels to gather the 144,000 and the 1/3 of Israel, the elect of Israel from the four corners of the world. All right? So that's how she's going to be utterly burned. Right? And the kings of the earth who have committed fornication and lived deliciously with her. Who are the kings of the earth? All of those that make up all the different nations of the United Nations. All the different kings of the earth that have lived deliciously with her. Through what? Through the banking elite. That's how they lived deliciously with her. Through the banking elite, through the special interest groups, through the military industrial complexes, through the corporate lobbyists, and through the mainstream media. That's how the kings of the earth have lived deliciously with her. And the kings of the earth who have lived deliciously with her and committed fornication, right, shall bewail her and lament for her when they shall see the smoke of her burning. So we go back to Psalms. It says, O my power, make them like a wheel, as the stubble before the wind, as the fire burneth a wood, and as the flame setteth the mountains on fire. It confirms it right here in Revelation chapter 18 verse 9. And the kings of the earth who had committed fornication and lived deliciously with her, your banking elite, special interest groups, the military industrial complex, mainstream media, shall bewail her and lament for her when they shall see the smoke of her burning. When they see the United States of America gone up in total nuclear waste, they're not going to believe it. And like I said, it's the Lord who's going to put the final cherry on the destruction of America. These Edomites are going to begin it. They're going to begin the war against each other. But during that war, at some stage, during that Third World War, The Lord is going to crack through those skies to gather the elect of Israel and the 144,000. And then he's going to put that final judgment that's going to cause all of America to be up in smoke and burning. He's the one that's going to cause that. He's the one that's going to give her all her plagues in one day. Death, mourning, and famine. She shall be utterly burned with fire. For strong is Yahweh who judges her. That's who's going to do that in that one day. That's the Lord is going to totally destroy all of America. So it says there, verse 15. So it says, verse 14, as the fire burneth the wood, and as the flame setteth the mountains on fire, so persecute them with thy tempest. Thy tempest is what's going to be coming from those chariots, and make them afraid with thy storm. That's the judgment of America. He is the head. Fill their faces with shame, that they may seek thy name, O Yahweh. Let them be confounded and troubled forever, because the rest of the nations are going to be confounded and troubled forever when they realize these people here, who they played a part in the transatlantic slave trade, who they murdered, raped, enslaved, tortured, pillaged, pedophiled their children, separated their family, destroyed their families, right? With all of the wickedness that the so-called white man did to the so-called African Americans all throughout America and all throughout the West Indies during the transatlantic slave trade. All of the wickedness that they did to the Native American Indians, who today are called Latinos and Hispanics. All of that wickedness, all of this, the rest of the world, all of the nation are going to what? Psalm says, let them be confounded. They're going to be confounded when they truly realize that those people who they robbed, murdered, pillaged, raped, even today, you got those Edomites in America, John Bolton and Mike Pompeo, along with their leader Donald Trump, trying to invade and doing a coup on Nicolas Maduro, who is the democratically elected leader of Venezuela. And Nicolas Maduro is from the indigenous people of Venezuela. He's an indigenous Native American Indian. That's who his people go back to. Who these Edomites in America are trying to use this Spanish guy called Juan Guaidó to upsert the leadership in Venezuela. Even today, nothing's changed from that devil. These Edomites, nothing has changed from what they do. It says, let them be confounded and troubled forever. Yea, let them be put to shame and perish, because they are. All these other nations, all of these nations, the Chinese, the Japanese, the Hamite Africans, the European nations from France, Germany, England, Spain, Portugal, Norway, Denmark, all of them, India, Pakistan, Afghanistan, Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, Bahrain, Qatar, Syria, Iraq, Iran, all of these nations are going to be confounded with shame when they realize that what they all played a part in, they're all going to have to face the judgment of. Yea, let them be put to shame and perish, right? That the men may know, that they all may know, that thou, whose name alone is Yahweh, art the most high over all the earth. So these devils here are going to know that they're not God and that they're not God's children. These Edomites that are sitting in the land of Israel today, that go back to Amalek, the grandson of Esau, are going to know that they are not the children of God, that they are not God, that their backers, the Americans, are not gods, and nor are those Saudi Arabians with all of their oil, dirty money, their oil money in Qatar, Saudi Arabia, Kuwait and Bahrain, and all of those despot African leaders are going to know that with all their wealth, along with their European counterpart leaders from China to Japan to India, all of those different Muslim countries, they're all going to know that their gods are not gods and they are not God, and that the Most High is going to show them who the true children of Israel are and what was done to them in the transatlantic slave trade, and who the 10 lost tribes of Israel are that make up the 12 tribes of Israel, what was done to them in the genocide that these devils committed against the indigenous people of North and South America and Canada. They're all going to know on that day, that the men may know, all the nations, that thou, whose name alone is Yahweh, art the most high over all the earth. So, I hope you understand this breakdown of Psalms 83. Psalms 83 is a prophecy that has come to pass, and it's still got some prophecies left in it to come to pass in it. Parts of Psalms 83 has already come to pass, while there's parts that are still to come. And the part that is still to come is the taking down of Esau and his allies in this place called the United Nations, all their allies that ally them together, that all become confederate together, is the taking down of their power, their system, their religions, their politics, their wickedness, their hypocrisy, and the ultimate is going to be the total destruction of America. And remember, Israel, where these gutter rats are, is going to be totally destroyed. But Israel is going to be rebuilt up from scratch, because the whole place has to be cleansed of these wicked people. And all these remember, they have a thing in Israel, in Tel Aviv, called Pink City. They have the biggest homosexual LGBTQ festival in all of Europe. Is kept in the Promised Land, in Tel Aviv, in Israel. The whole place is going to go up in smoke. Has to be cleansed by fire. But America is going to be totally destroyed. This guy's country here is going to be totally destroyed and never inhabited again. Just like it says in Revelation 18. Standing afar off, it says, the kings of the earth and who have committed fornication and lived deliciously with her shall bewail her and lament her. And when they shall see the smoke of her burning, standing afar off for the fear of her torment, saying, alas, alas, that great city Babylon, aka the United States of America, that mighty city America, for in 1 hour is thy judgment come. So it's going to take the Lord and his chariots. They're going to come on the day that they're going to come. They're going to come in one day. Their plagues are going to come in one day. But the total destruction, the complete destruction of that place is going to take 1 hour. Is thy judgment come? And the merchants of the earth shall weep and mourn over her, for no man buyeth their merchandise anymore. No one's going to buy anything from there anymore, because it's going to be totally destroyed. And you can go through and read all the rest of Revelation 18. I don't need to go through all of it, and you get a proper understanding of it. But it's no more is their merchandise going to be bought anymore, because it's going to be totally destroyed and never inhabited again. So that is the connection, just so you understand, with Psalms 83 and America's destruction and the bringing down and the destruction of our people in slavery and our fellow Native American Indian tribes, who are the 10 lost tribes of Israel, which all make up the 12 tribes of Israel. This is the prophecy that speaks of it in Psalms 83, how that destruction of our people was going to happen, how they was going to take away our name, how they was going to become confederate together to destroy us, so that the name of Israel could be no more in remembrance, just like it says. So on that note, I want to give all praises to Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahweh Shai, by Hashem, Rakah, Kodash, Tawada, Amen. Barakatha Yahweh, Barakatha Yahweh Shai. Salutations to the brothers out there in the highways and byways. Shalom to the sisters out there who are tuning in. And shalom to any Akayam that are waking up to this truth, that we, who are the descendants from our ancestors who went into slavery from the West Indies to North America and South America and Canada, and that was scattered to the four corners of the world, we are the children of Israel, alongside the Native American Indians who lived all throughout South America, North America, Canada, calling themselves Aztecs, Incas, Maupachus, Mayans, today known as Hispanics and Latinos. Talking about the indigenous people, not the Hispanics that came and invaded there, or the Portuguese. So all praises to Yahweh, Bashim, Yahushua, Bashim, Rakaka. That's what I pray this was an edifying lesson to the brothers and sisters out there, so they get a good understanding of Psalms 83. All praises.